We're the HPI-Digitalblog, and today we're talking with Mei Lin Fung. She is chair and co-founder of People-Centered Internet. Mrs. Fung, you've just been honored as HPI Fellow by HPI Director Professor Meil. Congratulations. What is your mission and the mission of the organization?
The People-Centered Internet.
Yeah.
Well, right at the beginning, the internet was really, I believe, fueled by friendship. It's hard to believe now, 30 years later, because it looks like it's fueled by profit. But the mission of the People-Centered Internet is to remember that the internet was created by people, for people, with people. And that spirit is what we stand for. That as the internet goes to the whole world, it's right now about 60% of the world are connected through the internet. As it goes to the whole world, it should be spreading so that people can flourish, so that we can steward a planet, not just to make a few people rich.
That's a very nice idea. Your organization aims to give people around the world access to World Wide Web. What do you think about Putin's plan to disconnect his country from the World Wide Web and to build his own internet? How can we handle the geopolitical movements and the ideas of separation?
Oh, this idea of the internet civil war, or the splinternet, has been discussed for the last few years. I think every country can decide for itself what it wants. That's its sovereignty. That's just the definition of being a sovereign country. I think for Mr. Putin, he certainly has to deal with the people of Russia about whether they would agree with him.
At today's cleanIT conference at the HPI, we discussed how to make digital technologies and the digital world more sustainable. Why do you think is it necessary to pursue cleanIT, and what are the most important next steps?
Do you remember plastics? The beginning of plastics, everyone was really excited. It was very cheap. They could do a lot of things. And now we have terrible pictures of the big plastic garbage island in the Pacific and horrible sights of whales and dolphins being strangled by plastic. Well, I think that's a lesson for us as we think about digital technology. Can digital technology avoid that problem? Right now we're rushing and saying, wow, digital, it can solve so many problems. It can help keep us clean and green. But what if digital itself uses up so much energy and isn't being used in a way that's energy efficient? Well, then we get into the plastics problem. We solve one problem and create another big problem. We had so many plastics, and then people said, oh, let's address the problem by recycling plastics. And it turns out that recycling plastics actually created more plastic. We're in this problem now that we think we want to do sustainable IT, but if we don't do it right, we could create even more energy inefficient IT. And we really want to avoid that. So I see that this initiative of cleanIT is so important. We need to stop the writing of algorithms that are inefficient. Right now, young people today are learning IT, and nobody's saying, well, do you know how much energy your algorithm is consuming? But they should know how much, because that consumption could end up threatening the future for all future generations. We need to be much more aware of the effect of IT. And yes, it can solve a lot of problems, but let's make sure it doesn't create more problems than it solves.
You already mentioned the bit of the CO2 footprint and the energy that it takes up. And it's currently increasing even more. What kind of immediate actions do we need to take right now to save energy? And maybe what kind of international guidelines can you think of that we can implement on a bigger scale?
Well, the immediate action is what I'm here in Germany for. So over the last 2 days, I was part of Think 7, which is Germany has the G7 presidency this year in 2022. There is the opportunity for Germany to really use 2022 as the year in which we make sure that there's clean IT for all the future. Because no country more than Germany has worked on clean IT. And part of it is because of the leadership of the institution we're standing in right now, the Hasso-Plattner Institute. I'm very proud to have co-written the paper with Professor Meinl on clean IT. This is intellectual leadership of the highest order. It makes me think of German history. Physics, so much of modern day physics was invented in Germany and it has transformed the 20th century. The work that's being done here in Potsdam about clean IT can transform the next 100 years for humankind.
Thank you very much for taking the time, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you.